how would you best describe the win? A, glorious as usual. B, dumb and lucky. Or C, actually concerning. B is winning right now, dumb and lucky. But that's just a fan's perspective. I would assume you would say, hey, it's the National Football League. They're not always pretty. Glorious.
And here's the problem. Here's the perception problem that comes into play. Everybody thought the Packers were going to see the team that they watched all of last week get obliterated by the New England Patriots. And that wasn't going to be the case. The Bears, they get their 2 offensive tackles back. They did not have them against the Patriots when they gave up 9 sacks.
A lot.
That helped an awful lot. Secondly, they fire their offensive coordinator. They put in Thomas Brown. They're, elevate him to offensive coordinator. They come up with a game plan that is much different from anything the Packers had seen the Bears running this year. The Bears want, and Caleb Williams wants to be a pocket passer, and he probably will be in his career. But he has escapability, has excellent athletic ability. And Thomas Brown said, we're going to use some of that. And that was a bit of a different wrinkle that the Packers had to deal with yesterday. And I thought the other factor is this. After that New England game, if you know anything about Chicago, the greatest sports town in America, maybe the world, the Bears took heat all week at a very high level. And they came out and they played, I thought, one of their best games. I thought that's the best game I've seen them play this year, including their wins.
Yeah. And I would say the Packers played C- football. How would you grade the overall quality of effort?
I thought the effort was there. I mean,
not effort, but execution.
I was going to say effort, yeah.
Graded the overall execution of footballing by the Green Bay Packers Incorporated.
Yeah, I would say it was somewhere in the B range because, I'm a easier grader than you guys are, but, I'd say it was at least a B because they were able to survive and get the win. Now, did some things happen that they had to deal with? Yeah. But I thought overall, there were a couple of things that happened that the quarterback played one of his best games of the season. That was encouraging to see. The question comes down to defense, and it's going to be that's going to be the question going forward. It's been the question since 2010. Is the Packers defense going to be good enough to get this team where they want to go? The offense will be good enough. They'll
So what are the problems on the defensive end then? The reason I bring this up is we just had a 45-minute conversation about Quay Walker. That's even if it's
that was a conversation.
Problem, well, we disagreed on it more than anything is what we did.
Mrs. C texted me saying, wow, cranky this morning. I go, I'm not cranky.
We did.
Butchie's cranky due to a lack of sleep.
No, but Wayne, what gets me is you got all these people on social media and breaking down the all 22 saying Quay's bad and this. And I'm like, my biggest thing is you don't know what the coaches are asking of Quay to do. So you might expect him to go make these plays and do whatever, but we're not in those meetings. Now, that's why I ask you, how did you think Quay Walker played? And then what other issues do you think are, affect this Packers defense?
I thought he made a play downfield on a pass play that, was outstanding. It's
really good. Should have been a catch.
Nice PBU.
Yep. And I thought he played well. The one thing about Quay, and I wonder, like a lot of people do, would he be better served to play at outside linebacker? And, because he has the range to cover passing plays. Okay. But if you take him out of the middle, who goes into the middle? That's the question right now. So he's playing the middle and he's doing the best he can. It's just that he's a linear athlete. He's an athletic guy. But when you're in the middle, okay, you got to worry about what's coming at you on the right and what's coming at you on the left. You're an outside linebacker. You got to worry about one direction, essentially, that kind of thing. So I'm wondering in that regard, if, Quay would be better served on the outside, but who do you replace on the outside? And who do you put in the middle, more importantly, that's going to make a bigger difference?
Yeah, that's my thing, Wayne. There's not an answer. I've been asking it for an hour now. Who else
would
do you
the candidates be?
Well, Isaiah McDuffie looks like a guy they could put in there. Eric Wilson, again, these two guys are a little more undersized in the middle of that defense, and now you invite teams to run right at you. So I don't know if there's a real solution there on the roster this year. I'll be curious to see going forward what happens in that regard.
Have they drafted themselves into a bit of a bind here at that position? It happens, Sometimes you
Yeah,
miss
I
a
don't.
guy or two.
I think it's something they might address in the draft if the right player is there. They might address it in free agency as well.
Yeah. Going back to your original grading of the overall, outcome yesterday, I will grant you a little leniency because they had so few plays.
You're
43
so right.
plays. It's like they
Yeah.
barely had the ball for long stretches. And Love was pretty good except for the pick, 13 of 17. I thought Jacobs was his usual productive self. I love that guy. And I think Watson, with a few more looks, would have done even more damage than the
Yeah.
career high 150 yards that he got in this game. It's just they did not have the ball. Part of it was they couldn't get the Bears off the field. 9 of 15 on third downs, and a fourth down conversion unacceptable.
Yep,
So.
exactly. I mean, fourth down efficiency, the Bears were 3 for 3. They were 100% on fourth down. They were,
that's
as
right.
you mentioned, 56% on third downs. And the Packers are one of the better third down defenses in the league. Into the previous 3 games, their opponents had converted third downs at a 26% clip going into that game. So in some cases, you got to give the Bears some credit. I mean, they came in and played maybe one of the best games they've played all year against the Packers. And you're exactly right. Possessions in that game were very precious. And that's what Matt LaFleur mentioned after the game. He said, we're not getting a lot of possessions here. So, that's why they made some of the decisions they did in the red zone. And, but you're exactly right. The defense has to get that offense off the field. 66 plays, that was plus 25. 68 plays for the Bears, plus 25. And the time of possession, guys, 36-21 Chicago, 23-39 Green Bay, almost 13 more minutes
a whole
of
quarter
ball control for the Bears.
Right. Played an extra quarter than we did. So
Almost,
there's that. Yeah. I think there's a lot of positives. The number one thing is the team is 7-3.
7-3.
Win now, be good later. My mantra for the NFL. Win now, be good later. This will be lost to the wash in no time whatsoever. I'm looking ahead to the schedule here. And I'm looking at, okay, what do we really – and I'm looking at the playoff picture. San Fran comes to town this weekend. They're 5-5. Luddy, look up the line for that game. I'm imagining it is Packers minus a small handful, even though the Niners have had our number as of late. Niners on Sunday, 3:25 window. Then the Thursday game against Miami on Thanksgiving night. Then another Thursday, one of the weirdest quirks I've seen, Wayne, in scheduling in a long time, back-to-back Thursdays. That's at Detroit on Amazon Prime. Yes, the line Sunday?
Packers minus 1.5.
1.5.
I was going to say, I don't think it's a lot. Yeah.
Right. Then Sunday on the road at Seattle. Then Monday night at home against New Orleans on 2 nights before Christmas. Then at Minnesota the following Sunday and home against Chicago. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 4-3 makes them 11-6, and they're golden, Wayne. They're golden at 11-6, I believe. Do you believe 11 is golden? Yes or no?
Maybe not.
When has 11 ever been not golden? I don't know.
It should be. It should be good enough.
It should be.
Okay. All right.
But the thing I'm worried about is tiebreakers. Yeah. Part of what has made these last couple of games so important, especially the Chicago game, is the tiebreakers. They've lost 3 games in the conference. Their 3 losses are all in the conference, okay? So that when you get to December, and the Packers are going to be in the picture in December, okay? They're 7-3. They're going to be in the playoff picture in December. And now you start talking tiebreakers, and that's where there's somewhat at a disadvantage if they don't get these wins. It's why it was so important to win yesterday in Chicago any way you could, and because it would have been their 4th loss in conference.
Right. You're dead right about the tiebreakers. Here's what I also thought. Okay, so 11 might not be golden if it's not the right 4 of the final 7. And by that, I mean, if it is San Fran, Seattle, Chicago, and say Miami, you're golden because you'll have won the tiebreaker with Seattle and San Francisco, who are going to be in that mix for a possible 11-win season. But if you array your 4 wins and miss San Fran and miss Seattle, you could be in trouble.
Sure.
It's which 4 that are in danger. If you only win 3, Butchie, now we're in a scrum. Now we're in a spreadsheet scrum at 10, I believe.
I would agree with
Fair
that.
to say?
Absolutely. Yes. I agree. We agree today. There we go.
There we go. We agree on something right there. Okay. Another positive, Wayne. I feel like the passing game is ready to pop. It's pregnant. It's ready to go. It just needs some possessions and just a little bit more verve. I saw Alex Smith on TV say, don't make Jordan Love a game manager. He's way better than that. Yeah. And I know that they know that he can do that. So I like that this team has going for it.
One drop pass in that ball game. I think Romeo Dobbs had the ball on his hands at a sideline route. I believe first half dropped it. The other one, that pass was intercepted, that sailed over Tucker Kraft. I couldn't tell by the naked eye, and I didn't see a replay. It looked like the ball went through his hands down. Oh, he pulled his hands.
He did. It looked to us on TV that he pulled his hands down because it was so high, he thought it must have been going to somebody else. Because he could have reached it. He could have reached it, I believe.
It just looked like an overthrow to me, to be honest. I know what we can, but it just.
You were cleaning up cake for Ellie's second birthday.
I actually was sitting down on the couch watching that, just saying that was.
Well, then you did not see him lower his hands.
Okay.
And that's your quarterback. Aside from that, I thought the quarterback played great. And I thought Christian Watson came to the fore. The one thing I said, I think I said it on this program during the bye, one of the areas they could get better offensively is getting Christian Watson on track and making that big blow the defense up over the top kind of plays to him.
Targets.
And we saw that.
Yes. I want more targets to number 9 all over the field, not just over the top.
Yeah, because he can run the whole route.
Yes,
unlike a lot of these guys who blow the top off of defense, they've got one route. Okay,
right.
This guy can run the route tree. He's an accomplished receiver. He's their best blocker as a wide receiver, and they have a room full of great blockers at wide receiver for the Packers. But he's the guy, and I thought yesterday he elevated them. They don't win that game without him yesterday, and I think that's a big key going forward. And boy, at least what he put down on tape, that's going to make Shanahan and his people think about it quite a bit this week.
Yeah. I also love the fact that, to me, Jordan Love looks literally fine.
He does.
I don't see anything with him that's a testament to young ligaments and young muscles. Butchie, does he look fine to you?
I would say he looks more than fine. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. I mean, knock on wood, count our blessings. Our season was over in Brazil for about 5 minutes. The lowest of the lows. And not only is it not over, they're 7-3. 7-3. A lot of football.
Well, that's why those games they won with Malik were huge. I mean, they just were. Nobody thought that you were going to do what you do. And again, no one will bring those up again because it's the season is so long. Just like no one's going to really say, "Hey, look at how they beat the Bears." But that all those wins are huge as far as how you get to the end of the season.
I got some questions for you, Wayne. Why did Eberflus go for it on 4th and 2 at the 30-something and then not go for it again on 4th and 2 at like the 15?
Better question for Eberflus than Wayne Larrabee.
Would you have done it? Would you have kept the pedal to the metal there, like we're a go-for-it team? I would have gone for it again. Touchdowns are important.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Was the timeout by LaFleur on the 10 men on the field on the 2-point conversion worth it? They did stop the conversion. And it was at a key point in the game, 19-14 with 31 seconds left in the third. Was that worth the timeout, in your opinion?
Yes.
Okay.
I thought it was, just to make sure the Packers had the right people on the field, and then they backed it up by stopping the 2-point conversion.
Was the challenge on the pylon play the right risk there, given they would have had it anyway?
No, you know what? Personally, I'm not criticizing Matt. I mean, he felt they had good footage on that. You're so close, you're going to get it anyway, right?
Yeah.
Why burn a challenge there? You could, next play. I understand you could fumble, something could happen, or you could get pushed back. But you know what? If you can't get 2 inches, then you probably don't deserve to win that game, right? That's
It dawned on me after the game, like maybe LaFleur is so scarred by pre-snap penalties. He saw that first and a Kit Kat from the 1-yard line turn into 1st and 5 and not getting a touchdown at all. Because they had 2nd and 1 at the 5. They run that sweep to Reed. That got blown up. And next thing you know, they're getting no points out of it.
You know, you're right. But yesterday the Packers cleaned up those penalties. They only had 3 accepted penalties.
Yeah, no,
It's
it was
another
much
positive
better
right there. Much cleaner operation. Okay, another question here.
Going for it on fourth down, I'm going to jump in there. It might be one of your questions, but going for it on fourth down after the challenge, or however that played out.
4th and goal at the 6, I believe.
4th goal on the 6, correct? Yes.
Yeah, that was, and again, as Matt mentioned, possessions were at a premium in this game. The Packers are in the process of running 43 plays. I'm old school. I would have the field goal unit out there. Let's get some points here.
The reason when I'm watching it live with Heller, I go, I think Matt realizes they don't feel good in stopping them. And they certainly did not really stop them after that. So he didn't feel good that we're going to be able to get the ball back. Which we had
the same thoughts, Czabe. And, and again, Jordan almost made that good. I mean, that was where he made that tough run at the goal line, right? And came up just short. And the Bears had it at the 2-yard line after that. Yep. The beauty of that is, okay, take the points. That's fine. If you don't take the points and you don't score, they start deep in their own end. But I am never personally, to me, being as conservative as I am, I'm never comfortable trying to convert 4th down and 6 anywhere on the field, especially in the red zone.
The league has gone go for it crazy.
Oh, yeah.
I think too much so. Every week I see teams going for it and say to myself, 10 years ago, this would have been heresy. They would have burned a coach at the stake like a witch for going for this situation. But the tides have completely flipped. Thank you, analytics. And maybe it's the right move, but I think they're too aggressive now.
Thank you, analytics, and thank you, Dan Campbell.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, no, I mean, it is.
Dan Campbell has really, like, he's embarrassing every other coach because he's like, I don't care, I'm going to go for it. Life is short, YOLO, baby.
Dan Campbell's the only coach out there playing Madden on Sunday afternoon at a real game.
But for him,
of course I'm going for it.
But for him, it works because he's got a dang unit of a team with offensive.
For him, it works. You're exactly right, Zay, because he's got the best team in football by far, period.
The division is gone, right?
I don't know if the Lions are going to lose a game in the division. Do you? I don't know. I'm hoping the Packers get them. The Packers beat them in Detroit last year, but this Lions team,
right? But
this year compared to last year,
gone.
They just had another injury, though. You gotta, I mean, let's hope. Let's put some faith out there.
Who went down yesterday?
Their inside linebacker broke
Anzalone. Big blonde.
Yeah, you can see him walking off. He goes, "It's broken."
Yeah. So, guys, when you're scoring 56 points a game or whatever it was, you know what I mean?
That's tough though, because after losing Hutch, Anzalone, I mean, he's like the heart of their team on defense. I wish we had one of those.
Heart and soul, and he gets to everything. He's always involved. And that's a huge loss if that's the case. If they don't have him back for at some point during this
4 to 6 weeks. 4 to 6 weeks. So he'll be back for the playoffs. It looks like. All right, Wayne, as always, a pleasure, my friend. And we are on the search for the radio call of the Bears side of things with Jeff Janowiak. Joniak, not Janowiak. Janowiak was my buddy from high school. I went to Caps games with. Jeff Joniak. Someone, I asked Luddy, do we have their call? It's a hard find. Somebody else on Twitter said they're looking for it. They can't find it. You didn't even get to see the block replay on the Stadium Jumbotron because they didn't show it.
Here's what we've started doing in our booth now, because the TV thing is like 2 plays behind us. All right. So instead of taking the feed from the TV booth, because we can't get a live feed from them, apparently.
Stream it.
So now we stream the scoreboard, which gives us the play live, and then they show replays, except when they don't show a replay. And that's the last play they were going to show in Chicago yesterday. So, from where we were, we couldn't tell who blocked it. We couldn't see a replay.
All right, Wayne. As always, a pleasure. Thank you. We'll talk to you on Friday.
All right, you got it, guys. Have a good week.
Why do stadium ops people do that, Brian? It's just so petulant. You paid money, you parked, you walked, you spent the whole day there. I know something bad just happened.
They're trying to protect them fans, and they're trying. I mean, I
want to
get
see it.
But
happened?
I agree. I know. I'm not. I think it's
blocked the ball.
you saw the first play. You knew what happened. What's the replay like?
No, you didn't. You did not. If you're in the stands, you have no idea what happened, other than that it got blocked.
You saw that it missed, though. You saw the result.
Yeah, but that's not enough. I want
If
to
you're
see
a
a
Bear-
replay.
I agree. You should show replay. Like I'm saying, you've already seen the end result. You know they missed it. Why not show it? We're agreeing in here. You don't.
We're agreeing. Okay, yeah.
Yes.
Because these game
You
ops
saw the end
guys-
result of it missed. You know it was somehow not a good kick.
Yeah.
Show the replay so you can see why it wasn't a good kick.
All right. Our conversation with Wayne brought to you by Steam Fitters Local 601 and the There was the highlight from Jeff Joniak, Bears Radio Network. Where'd you find that?
I got an email, or I got a text from Hunter saying that he had it.
Hunter had it. I love it. Mike Heller joins us now. Good morning, Mr. Heller. How are you?
I'm great. How are you guys?
Doing good. Isn't it great that Hunter, that middle mischievous fella that he is, had it right in his back pocket?
Finds everything.
He does.
Needs something, he'll find it.
Might have been rolling on it as well. It's a fair call by them. 11 in a row now in this rivalry. I had a great day with you out there at Potawatomi. How do you like that place?
It is so cool. I said, we have that watch party coming up against the Lions on the back-to-back Thursday, the second of the Thursdays. I said, Kari, you need to be there. You need to be part of this. It's a fantastic place to watch. Perfect.
Yeah, we're working with a defeater guy, right here, real quick. A little action. That being said, defensively, the Packers, there's some issues, more than Quay in general. Are they all fixable, Mike?
Yeah, I'm not as negative on that front as you guys have been.
No, not you guys.
As Zabin has been this morning. I thought it was, people aren't going to like to hear this, but the better quarterback in the game, not the better quarterback, but maybe the better quarterback in the game lost. Caleb Williams made no mistakes. He didn't put the ball in the Packers' hands at any point. He didn't throw one that should have been picked that was dropped. They changed the way they went about their offense, where he was mainly just a one-read quarterback.
Yeah.
And then after that, he was going to run. That's not long-term successful, but in the near term, it can be very successful. I thought he was the difference in the game yesterday. The better quarterback performance yesterday lost the game, which typically doesn't happen.
All right, get back to the Quay thing, though. You want to go die on Hamburger Hill with Butchie on Quay Walker? Go ahead. Take up a rifle and go up to the hill and get slaughtered with him.
There's many other things I'd rather fight about. I think none of us in this room, none of these three people talking plus Luddy,
we're not in the
no
room.
Jack Sigma about what he's supposed to be doing and when he's supposed to do it.
Doesn't mean we don't know that
That's
he's
my
a
whole
liability. Point. Anyone with eyes knows he's a liability. And Butchie,
no, you don't. Okay. You don't know that.
Okay,
though.
Well, when he gets sunsetted, which he will over the rest of the season, then you can apologize to me later.
How about this? I'm just going to point this out, right? I'm not a football coach. There's enough high school coaches out here. The Talking Text Line jumps. As a varsity coach, I agree with Butch here. I've had many athletes who have roles to help the team that I guarantee the stands are not aware of what I'm asking to do. That is the whole point that I have been saying throughout. We don't know what they're asking Quay to do. Nobody does. Only people in 1265 do. So all 22 guys, everybody else, they don't know jack, period.
When he's been sunsetted by weeks 16, 17, 18, you'll come back to me, right?
Sunsetted by who then?
Then
that's my counter then.
The staff.
Who are you going to put in
They're
there?
going to Eric Stokes him. The McDuffie and whoever else.
Well, if you want to talk about Stokes,
Wilson,
that's fine. But Nixon's a problem too.
To be named
Keyshawn
later.
Is a problem too right now.
All right, let's get off of this before it gets contentious even more. So let's talk Badgers, Mike. I need to know what is going on. What's going on?
It got to the point where it was an impasse, and the gap between what Luke Fickell, who's a defensive guy, and Luke Fickell said to Phil Longo, "This is your offense," and he gave him 23 games to figure out how this was his offense, and it just never got there. For the people that think that it's they're going to get back to the ground and pound, this team ran the football. That was not their issue. They ran the football. What they couldn't do in almost 2 full seasons is figure out the throw game, to threaten anybody in the throw game. And part of that is quarterback play, but part of that is design. Sometimes you have to scheme opportunities open, and the Badgers have especially 2 very talented slot receivers in Tretch Kekahuna and Will Pauling, and they couldn't find a way through Phil Longo to accentuate their talents. Part of it is Braden Locke, no doubt. Part of it was Tyler Van Dyke. Part of it last year was Tanner Mordecai. Not staying healthy in the middle of the season and Van Dyke being lost on the first offensive series against Alabama, but it just didn't fit. And sometimes you have to recognize this is a square peg round hole, and it took him 23 games to figure it out. I don't have a problem with it other than the personal side, which none of us like to see people lose their jobs.
But this is going to happen at the end of the season anyway.
It was going to happen in 11 days, or it's going to happen now.
So why now?
I think it was a distinct and absolute impasse. I think that there was to me on the outside looking in, it just looked like there was a complete disconnect between the head coach and the OC.
But it lasted this long, and there's only 11 days left.
Yeah.
Feels to me like this was a code red. Somebody called it a code red.
I don't.
You're
I don't
trying to
think
say
so.
a booster. You're trying to say a booster called in and said get rid of him. That's what you're trying to say. Yes.
Not multiple.
Okay. So, but that instead of a code red, that's exactly what you're trying to say. I don't agree with it.
Well, this is I'm not saying that it happened for sure, but that's how this world often gets run. I think the real infuriation point to say now, don't wait, was the delay a game on the final drive.
Didn't help you.
That was not good. Correct.
That would
Didn't
be a
help
sign of disorganization. If I'm writing big checks, I'd go, listen, I know this guy doesn't fit who they got at quarterback, but we can't have this.
By the way, they win that. Sorry, Luddy. They win that game. I hate to do this. I wouldn't have done it 3 years ago. Probably they win the game if they have a better quarterback. Now that everybody's paid, I think you can take some of the gloves off.
Did you say I hate to do this?
Well, I do.
Well, you're doing
because
it.
Well, okay.
But I know why you
What
hate to
qualifier
do
in
it because
front
they're
of it?
still college kids. But now
They're
because
still college kids, and
now
Braden
because they're
Locke-
getting paid, you feel a little bit more comfortable doing it.
Braden Locke is trying his ass off.
I was just going to say, yeah,
nobody
I
works harder
agree.
at it than he does. The missed throw to Tawee Walker when he's out of the backfield in the north end zone, that's a
So
touchdown.
bad.
Even late on that last drive when he's running toward the Badger sideline, if he cuts it in, he gets another 8 or 9 yards and goes out of bounds. He goes out of bounds on a 7-yard gain. He's not good enough right now for them to win in this league. But if he plays a little bit better on Saturday night, Wisconsin storms the field, and you have a perfect weekend. You get a court storm, a field rush, and the Packers winning on a walk-up block field goal.
That would have been it. I mean, like, retire the trophy. Best weekend ever.
It would have been.
And the Bucks are just going, we tried.
Yeah.
Mike, here's a question for you since you've been uncomfortable saying different things. This offensive coordinator hire that he has, is this tied with his job, and is it also tied with Chris McIntosh's job?
Well, yeah, maybe both. Maybe to a lesser extent on Mac. You know what they're doing is, and I said this a little bit in the pregame show on Saturday. They've taken a big swing, but here's my problem. You can't take a big swing and then check your swing. Like you can't try and hit a home run and not go all the way. So you go and make this hire Luke Fickell. And I've said this and people have laughed at me. When you have the opportunity to go get a quarterback 2 years ago, I don't know if it was real even for a moment, but Caleb Williams, remember there was the connection that Caleb Williams, when he's leaving Oklahoma, might consider coming to Wisconsin. Last year, Cam Ward, who was at Washington State. And somebody will say to me, well, you can't go get it. You're not going to pay a guy like that. All right, then let's not play. If you're not going to go get that big fish, or you're not going to say, hey, we're going to find somebody that's going to pay him $2.5, $3 million. We can't do that. It's Wisconsin. You're not going to do that. That's silly. Well, then what are we doing? You cannot play with USC and Michigan and Ohio State and Oregon and Penn State if you're not willing to write the big check.
Here's my counter then.
You're writing the big check to the head coach.
Here's my counter.
If you don't write
what
the
about
big
Indiana?
check to the player.
Here's the counter. What about Indiana?
I almost swore. Indiana is not real.
Indiana's not real.
Indiana's not real. They're going to get beat by 3 touchdowns in Columbus. It is a
Wow.
1-year
Hot
echo
take
effect
alert,
for
everybody.
Cignetti going to Indiana. He brought really good players with him from James Madison.
15 guys.
It is a 1 year. They haven't played a team with a number in front of them, and give them credit because they've won all of their games. But they're going to get.
But that you realize that's why I asked. I mean, people are going to
Yeah.
say the same thing to you. That's
Correct.
the counter to you. If you're not going to play, well, Indiana's in this. But then you look at the rest of them that are the rest of the groups that are in the college football playoffs. You've got Oregon.
Everybody's got a
getting
quarterback.
paid. Ohio State, Texas, they're all getting paid. Like
Quarterback.
Bama getting paid. Georgia
Quarterback.
getting paid. Ole Miss,
Quarterback.
Tennessee, Miami, Cam. Like
So
the only one that's not is Boise State as far as a quarterback there. That's the
Best running back in
outlier. But
college
you got the best
football.
running. Like I mean, you got the Heisman Trophy. So that I the reason I asked it is because I wanted it. That's what's going to come out. But I do agree with you on that. Like everyone else has that quarterback in play.
So we had this discussion, Butchie, Mike and I, sitting on the wonderful upholstered couches at Potawatomi, where, I mean, again, to be able to be home in 10 minutes and clean and dry instead of 2 hours and seeing all the plays, all the replays, the sound from the game, wager on the game, which I lost my ass because I put money on the Packers -5.5. Like, that's my new spot for Packer games, Potawatomi, right there. We had this discussion, though. I said, okay, so we don't know what Van Dyke got paid, probably $750. We don't know what Cam Ward got paid to go to Miami, but probably
2
more,
plus, maybe
2
3.
plus. So if you're in for a dime, Butch, you should be in for $2 million. In for a dime, in for $2 million. Let's go
Where's
buy
the
a
money
Cam
coming
Ward.
from?
Your varsity nil collective beer thing.
And if
A
it's
buy some more
basketball
beer.
camp. I don't know.
If it's not, you're not gonna play. You're not
Correct.
gonna look at this league.
Take it from guards budget.
But here's the counter.
Did I just say that?
Here's the counter.
Tell me.
All right, and I didn't hear what you said, Zabe. So
I said
about
take
it.
it from
You said-
guards budget.
He said,
yeah, well, because
Oh,
there's not
geez.
much there. That's the point, Phil. When you look at what they did, right, and how they started, one of the reasons that Chris Paul got let go was because there was nothing built up. So now Luke has tried to build all that up from zero, and it takes time to build it up to get people to realize, like, we need NIL money, as well as you've got the university asking for different donors. Like, and there's some donors that I've talked to them that just said, I don't want my money going to NIL. Bottom line, there are some donors out there that have just said, I don't want to put it towards this.
But you know that you can't win with that attitude. You got to find.
No, but you can't change that attitude either with some of your bigger donors. That's it.
Then-
I'm not doing it that way.
then-
So you have to
then
then
you-
find a
then you
new revenue stream for it.
Yeah, you understand. You
And that
cannot
takes time.
win if you don't play that way.
No, I'm not disagreeing.
And
I'm just saying it takes time for the revenue stream to a
Correct.
new one.
By the way, this team showed on Saturday night that they can play.
Yes.
They can compete with the best
Correct.
teams in the country. They are a couple of players away, but Luke Fickell has this team. People don't want to hear this. They're moving much closer to the right direction. People just fixated
They're
on
better
the
than
Iowa
last
game.
year, even though the record
They
doesn't
are
say it,
better
right,
than
Mike?
last year's
Oh, yeah.
team,
Yep.
without question.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
they're moving in the right direction. They're getting there. They still are a quarterback away. I don't know if that's Mabry Matoyer or not, the true freshman who everybody wants to see right
That's
now.
how you say his last name, Matoyer,
Yeah.
not Medauer.
Matoyer.
Matoyer.
And
Well,
maybe he'll
Yeah.
maybe he's not ready. That's why when people are saying, well, why isn't he playing? I assume because he's not ready. Why isn't the backup for Quay Walker
Well-
not taking Quay's spot?
Oh,
Because
boy,
Quay's
Mike,
better
Mike.
than that guy right now.
All right, I'm
Not
bullish.
according to the all 22 couch warriors, Mike, though. They got that pegged, man. They got that pegged.
Uh-huh.
Quay is garbage. I don't look at this film, sis. I mean, I'm breaking it down, and Quay's got to make the okay. Okay, Ronnie.
I'm bullish on the Badgers' immediate future. If Mabry is any good and they get a 4-star RB1, look out. They're going to play well. This defensive effort by Luke Fickell yesterday or Saturday was called a masterpiece by guys like Todd McShay. So I like what the heartbeat is of this team and this program. Bullish, but they got some things to work on. Curtin Grafton says, regarding money, what about alumni? Why don't you pony up, Butch, for a quarterback, you cheapskate? Won't
Yeah,
pay for
working
fireworks.
radio.
Won't pay. Well, you got a boat. Well, you get enough money for a quarterback? You need firework money and quarterback money in addition to seat cushions on your boat money.
It only took me 5 years to save for a boat, but go ahead. Yeah.
Saving.
Must be a nice boat.
I mean, just because I know how to save
I don't
money.
count
yeah.
another man's
You
boat.
got a name?
You're
715.
counting my money right now.
I don't count it. These guys are counting it. 715.
Yeah.
Edgerrin Cooper is the guy to replace Quay. The dude can fly and knock your head off.